Welcome back. I'm Marley, and welcome back to the Dumpster Fire channel. This will be part two of Crisis on Infinite Earths review. Obviously, reviewing the second episode, that being part two of this crossover event. Now, initial thoughts. It was paced much better than part one. They actually had time to develop the characters and develop the new characters they're introducing, as well as develop the conflict and we need to find the 8 Paragons of the universe, or yeah, 8 Paragons of the multiverse, or seven. Sorry, 7 Paragons, not eight, seven. So yeah, much better pace, much better written. Although that's actually very controversial. Well, not controversial, but it's very widely discussed topic, and not just the Arrowverse community, but as well as just DC in general. Because this episode introduced the Earth 99 Bruce Wayne, played by Kevin Conroy, which is awesome. But I'd say that not everyone universally liked his character. Now I'll get into it. Actually, I'll just get into it right now. So, Earth 99 Bruce Wayne, played by Kevin Conroy. It's a much older Bruce Wayne. This is way past his crime fighting days. He's no longer in the bat suit anymore. Instead, he wears another suit. He wears this tech suit that's inspired off of Kingdom Come Bruce Wayne, while the actual character itself is more towards the Dark Knight Returns or Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice Bruce Wayne. And what I mean by that is that he's a very mentally broken character. He killed people during his time as Batman. Well, this was later on in his career, and near the end of his career too, to the point where he's in this tech suit, which is again very inspired. Like, it's heavily inspired off of the Kingdom Come Bruce Wayne. So like, with the way that this character was constructed and how both physically and mentally he's broken, I thought that was great. I liked how they constructed this character, and obviously introducing it as well. I think it was great. He's just like a hermit who lives in his mansion. Now, my thoughts on this character, I don't think it's bad. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people do not like a Batman that kills. I would prefer to not have a Batman that kills, but at the same time, it's nice to have several iterations of a Batman that does kill people. And you also have to remember that this isn't our Batman. This is a Batman from another Earth, Earth 99. This is a Batman in the future, and much of older Batman, if anything. And you'd think that when you have a Bruce Wayne who's like pretty old, like I'd say like in his 60s, like 50s, 60s, 70s maybe. When you have a Bruce Wayne that's that old and has been fighting crime for all like his entire adult life, do you think that like he's eventually going to break? Now that's not saying that every Batman's going to break. Obviously, there are going to be several iterations of Bruce Wayne who are still mentally sane. But like when you're dressed up as a bat and you go out crime fighting every night for who knows 30 years, 40 years, eventually you're going to crack mentally. So like, I don't have a problem with Batman that kills, but I would prefer to not have a Batman that kills, because obviously his number one Bruce Wayne's number one code is to not kill, and breaking that code is basically just the unthinkable. But at the same time, when you take a look at a character like Bruce Wayne, like to keep that code, to not break that rule, is in it itself a superhuman ability. Like, here's the thing, as humans, we always break our rules. Like, sure, we have rules that we set in play, but there are times where we break them, in certain situations. And in those situations, you can break a very important rule to the point where you cannot go back. That is this character here, and I like this character. I think, sure, like the way that he was killed off, which yes, he was killed off, but it was terrible. I think like how they written his character was pretty good. Well, not pretty good, but it's good to say the least. I didn't really have any problem with it. Again, I would prefer to not have a Batman that kills, but at the same time, when you have a character like Bruce Wayne who holds this moral code to the highest standard, even not allowing his like Robin or anyone in the Bat family to not break that code too. Like to have that to such a high standard, that's a superhuman ability in its own. Because again, we will eventually break our rules sometimes, you know. And with Bruce Wayne in this case, he broke his number one rule, and eventually he never came back. He just kept on killing, and eventually he fought Superman and killed him, which is why he's physically crippled. Another thing I wanted to add to the Bruce Wayne that was introduced in this crossover is that it's more of just a fall from grace for this character. It's like, take a look at Thor's character in Endgame, or Luke Skywalker's character in The Last Jedi. People don't have problems with, well, there are people that will have problems with those, but at the same time, with the way that was handled, as well as the point that they're trying to get across, is great. Like, you have a legendary character fall from grace and basically just break every rule that they once had and are not themselves. It's more or less to show moral ambiguity, that like, even though yes, these are characters that exist in a power fantasy, eventually they're going to break. Like, that power fantasy is going to break, and they're going to be snapped back into reality. You know, again, Bruce Wayne's character in Crisis on Infinite Earths, this like Earth 99 Bruce Wayne, Thor's character in Endgame, and Luke Skywalker's character in The Last Jedi. Those are all examples of it. And I don't really have a problem with this character, excuse me, but I do have a problem with his death. And his death, it was poorly written. It's like, yeah, Kara and Kate, they go visit Bruce Wayne, Earth 99, you know, so they can get Bruce Wayne's help. But like, Kara kills Bruce Wayne in his own home. Like, that, no, like, that's just, like, that also what got me mad too. It's like, okay, you didn't have to kill him off. What you could have done is instead just like made him more of like an obstacle for the heroes. Well, not obstacle, but it's like he's like one of those characters that sticks around throughout the entire adventure and constantly is just like, no, I do not agree with this. You shouldn't do this. You know, like, stop doing that. That you stop being like heroic. Eventually, you're gonna break it too. I would have preferred to have him stay around the crossover and do stuff like that, but instead he gets killed off in the second episode. And it's like, or yeah, the only episode that he was in, which is the second episode of the crossover. And again, I don't really like it. I would have preferred to see him more, have his character fleshed out more. And I think, like, I just say this right now, this Batman is already better than Ben Affleck's Batman. Like, in terms of writing and, like, you know, dialogue and stuff, it's much better. Much better. Even though both Ben Affleck and the live-action Kevin Conroy Batman have the same kind of, like, purpose, I'd say. Like, is that, you know, they're Batman who kill. It's just that one of them is retired and the other one still fights. Again, I much preferred this. You know, I much preferred this Batman. And again, Kevin Conroy, I think for what he was given, he did a great job. You know, I would like to see more live action Kevin Conroy. Hopefully, Kevin Conroy in like shows up for more live action Batman. Just plays an older Batman. Maybe we can see him in a DCEU movie. I don't know. It would just be awesome to see him again instead of just, you know, because he's obviously the voice of Batman. There's no question he's one of the best Batman ever. But I would also like to see him in the live action Batman as well. You know, this was his first shot. I think, again, his performance was great, but I would have preferred to see more of him. So I've been talking a lot about the performances in this episode by Kevin Conroy and Tom Welling, well, mostly more of Tom Welling's Clark Kent's story arc. But another great performance in this episode was Brandon Routh as Superman. Now, he reprised his role as Superman, and this is actually a continuation of the Christopher Reeve Superman. Like, I think it was like Earth 76? I can't remember the Earth name, but like, the Earth, like, when we were introduced to Brandon Routh Superman, that's actually a continuation of Christopher Reeve Superman. Some people thought that it's actually different, and it's just him reprising his role as Superman on another Earth, but no, this is actually, like, Superman Returns. Like, this actually takes place on the same Earth as Superman Returns. So that's nice too. Again, I think that like Brandon Routh was amazing. Like, he was great as Superman. It was nice to see him back in the suit. And I'd say that he's like, in terms of modern Superman, I think he's one of the best. Like his performance in Crisis on Infinite Earths definitely prove that he was one of the best Supermen. And you can tell like this is also a broken down Superman. I mean his like suit is inspired off of the Kingdom Come Superman, and I thought that like his character arc is great. You know, he lost everyone that he loved in it was like a gas attack by the Joker on a Daily Planet. But even though he's not broken, like he still fights on. You know, he instead of just cowering in his losses, he stands up and faces them and rises above that. And I thought that was great. You know, especially like he gives more. There's this one scene I think in part 3, part 2, or something. I think it's part 3, where he explains why he has the Kingdom Comes like symbol on his suit, why his suit is like red and black, and he explains that like there's always going to be a light that shines through the darkness. Thought that was great, but that's in part 3. Part 2, I thought his character was great, although the whole like Lex Luthor, like not poisoning him, but like basically like mind controlling him to fight the other Superman from Earth 38. Thought that was a bit unnecessary. I mean, I'd say the fight scenes were like the CGI fight scenes are getting better by the CW, although they're not perfect. Well, they're actually perfect in later on in this crossover event, but with the Brandon Routh Superman versus the I forgot his name. I'm sorry, the Earth 38 Superman. I'm just gonna call him that. I think that was an okay fight scene. The CGI again was getting better, even though it's still not perfect. Although again, a bit unnecessary. You know, because Lex Luthor apparently is supposed to be the main villain for this episode, because he's going around using the Book of Destiny, killing different Supermen, and then he finally meets up with Brandon Routh Superman. It's like, no, instead of killing you, I'm just gonna bend you to my will and kill the other Superman. You know, it was like, I mean, yeah, at least it was like properly paced, but it like I was just like, what? Like when I was watching this episode, I was just like, what is going on? Like I didn't really have any clue. I don't know. So like, I don't know. It is what it is. I thought it was okay. The fight scenes were okay, but like in terms of fighting the Paragons, it was very interesting because like, yeah, you had Kate killing Bruce Wayne, and eventually well, not that, but it was her standing up for Kara, which led to her becoming the Paragon of Courage. Which, yes, in this episode they had to find the Paragons. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, the episode the heroes had to find the Paragons. And then like Brandon Routh Superman, he lost everything more than any lost a lot more than any mortal man could endure, and that's why he became the Paragon of Truth. Yeah, Truth, I believe. So yeah, but like the way that they found those Paragons is very weird. I mean, I think the best part of this episode was Brandon Routh Superman. Although again, the fight scenes were like okay, but I thought he was like the best part of this episode. This episode was just like This is like okay, it exists. I mean, it's better written and better paced than part 1. At least it wasn't stupid like Oliver getting killed by a bunch of shadow demons. Also in this episode, Barry, Mia, and Sarah travel to another Earth where they meet up with another Jonah Hex, and they want to use the what do you call it, the Lazarus Pit to bring back Oliver. That was fine too, but again, like, he's just all over the place. Like we're not really focused much on the story except for the Paragon part. But the Paragon part was like, it's okay. We're not really given any explanation as to how and why the Paragons need to like team up, and then how they can stop the Anti-Monitor. We just know that like they need to find the Paragons. Again, we don't really know why. Like, I think like in part 4 it explains it a little bit better. I don't know. I'll get to it when I get in part 4. But I mean, other than that, this episode was like. It's like alright. I didn't really like this episode as well, but like I think some of the ideas that they're trying to go for was great. Again, I like Kevin Conroy's Batman, except for the way that he was killed off. I thought that the Clark Kent Smallville, I think his ending was perfect. We didn't really need anything else from this character. I thought John Cryer's performance as Lex Luthor was great too. He definitely is, in my opinion, one of the best live action Lex Luthors. He's much better than Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor from BVS. Because that Lex Luthor just was like a big no for me. What else? Yeah, Brandon Routh Superman was great. Although the fight scenes were okay, a bit unnecessary, but it's like, yeah, like it was nice to see him back in the suit, and back as Superman and in the new suit, the Kingdom Come Superman. That was nice. I definitely like what the CW did there as well. So other than that, it's all right. I didn't really like Kate killing Bruce Wayne. Again, would have liked to see his character more, or not have Kate Kane kill Bruce Wayne, especially since Kane is also a Bat family member and is not supposed to kill people. That's really just what I think about this episode. It's just again, Brandon Routh, John Cryer, and Tom Williams, I think, were the best parts of this episode. The story itself was okay. It was all right, but I just don't really have much to say. I'm sorry, like if this seems kind of lazy, but it's like the same with the episode. It's like I don't really know what to say. I mean, there's some good parts, bad parts. It's an okay episode, but it's just So yeah, that's part 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Next time we review in part 3.